Welcome to the Killer Innovation Show, the longest continuously produced podcast in history. Each week, Phil McKinney brings you the insights and strategies to amplify your creativity and innovation skills. Here's your host, Phil McKinney.
Hello and welcome. I'm Phil McKinney. This week, we are reaching deep into the archive and bringing you one of our most downloaded shows. Enjoy. Welcome to Killer Innovations. I'm your host, Phil McKinney. We are here in Las Vegas with the Consumer Electronics Show. As you can probably tell from the audio quality, we are not in the mobile studio. We're actually squeezing in some interviews out and about, and this is one of those. We're actually doing this down at the Four Seasons Hotel here in Las Vegas. Cable Labs actually has an event later on this afternoon where we bring together a number of companies in what we call our Innovation Showcase. But we also do the what we call the accelerator programs throughout the fall timeline, where we select 3 to 4 companies a year, and we work with them to actually drive a product market fit aimed at specifically the industry we serve, which is the cable industry. And today's guest is actually one of those companies from our most recent Federator program. So, Rama, thanks for coming. Really appreciate it.
Thanks so much, Phil. Thanks for having me here.
So, yeah, normally I have all the Federator companies on the show, but you're one of those that we haven't had a chance to get it. And actually, I prefer to do these face-to-face. So, give us a little bit of background on yourself.
Well, I'm a scientist by training, and here I am starting a SaaS company and running it for the last 2 years, right? So I'm a chemical engineer by my degrees, and I've worked most of my previous life before Blitz has been around thin films, smart films that are deposited on wafers, which go into chips. Also, I did a lot of research on biomedical substrates for microfluidic applications towards medical devices.
So how do you go from that kind of, well, I mean, look, I always jokingly say, right, I started off my degree as I wanted to be an architect. And then I figured out it was a 5-year degree program, and I'm like, not going to happen. So it is interesting how people start down one path, but they go down a completely different path.
Yes, it is. I mean, I find it pretty amazing myself about the winding journeys I've taken. But when I look back, they're all connected. And the fundamental thought process in my journey was solving problems. And I've always been an experimentalist, be it at home or at my work when I'm working with semiconductor equipment or vacuum chambers. And solving problems was an integral part of my daily life there. And I just wanted to make things efficient. And that's what got me all the way to Blitz.
So is that, if we go back and look at your childhood, was that the thing you were doing? You're driving your parents nuts?
Well, I had a lot of inspiration from my dad. I mean, I used to call him MacGyver, the Indian MacGyver, born and raised in India. But MacGyver was, somebody I followed even from there. And my dad was always fixing things. So luckily, it's not myself to blame. It's really him to blame.
It's hereditary, right?
Yes.
And so give us a little bit of context and background on Blitz.
Yes. So the background is this. I mean, when I was actually doing my PhD and postdoc for that matter, a lot of work revolved around using experimental setups, which had a lot of vacuum chambers, a lot of sensors, a lot of equipment. And every time something went wrong, because they all came from different vendors, they were complicated pieces of equipment with laser sources, for example, material deposition systems, and they all came from a different vendors manufacturing different pieces of that entire what we called a cluster tool. Literally, it was a cluster of tools put together. And what happened several times for a lot of researchers was some of these tools would break down. And the funny thing was we were all experimentalists, good at fixing stuff. But then the vendor we'd contact would call them on a 1-800 number or send them an email. They would take 2 weeks just to come and take a look at it. And sometimes it was a simple enough fix that they could have told me over the phone, especially if they had eyes on the problem. So that inefficiency really drove me crazy, because I was waiting to get back to work, get these equipments up and running, and so that I could get back to work. And so, out of that necessity of quickly bringing these tools back up to operation, Blitz was born. And what Blitz is essentially is it brings in live video, augmented reality, and interactive markup, and artificial intelligence to technical support, especially when support is far away, they can't see the problem. You know how you can call a cable company for your router going bad? Imagine if that, when you make that first call, that person is actually standing next to you and seeing what your problem is, empathizing with you in order to, instead of actually you having to explain what's going wrong. Well, that's what we do at Blitz.
It's interesting because even though, I've had multiple conversations, I didn't have the context on the background of what was the real motivator for it. But, and look, I got 20 years in the telecom space before I got into consumer electronics. And the biggest frustration was always the customer care. The call center reps want to help. They want to be able to solve a customer's problem. But, trying to turn the customer's hands into remote hands never has all that great of an outcome.
Yes, that is true to an extent. But if the problems are very, very simple, a lot of times people call because they don't know where the input button on a remote is, for switching to the right input source on their TV, right? And but the call center rep is frustrated, can't see it, can't point them, can't see the remote. It might be a different third party remote, and they have to dispatch a truck for what is literally a 1 minute fix. And especially if the customer has to pay for it, sometimes they do, because it's not contracted. What happens is, they're like, the technician goes in there, they charge the customer $100, and he fixes it in 1 minute. And the customer is really pissed that it's
Yeah.
that happens a lot. So imagine today when that same problem happens, the customer service rep can send a text message to the smartphone. The smartphone, at the hands of the consumer, the subscriber, subscriber then clicks on that link without an app download. You don't have to worry about the Play Store, and or they ask you for the password and stuff like that. Without an app download, the back camera turns on, and now all of a sudden the customer rep can see what's going on and then solve the problem really quick. Now, this is just the consumer-facing side of it. And there are other aspects, which is for internal support, where a technician is standing on a bucket truck looking at an amplifier. He needs similar support from a subject matter expert at HQ. He can even do it over a phone, where the back camera, same thing, or he can wear smart glasses, where he can work with his hands free with somebody actually watching him do it. There's a lot of different ramifications of this technology, basically bringing in a subject matter expert to literally standing next to you, watching the problem, guiding you to solving it.
So is the solution always a human to human type of implication? So it's, if I've got a problem, I've got a live person on the other end, or does this start to move into creating some kind of a knowledge base over time?
Absolutely. So we start off initially with human to human, because there are call center reps already doing this kind of job, but they're almost doing this without eyes on the problem, right? So we're enabling them to do their job better, faster, reduce resolution time. But as you can see, these calls can be recorded. They could be computer vision, where you can point a phone at a piece of equipment, it recognizes it maybe by scanning the serial number or model number, or just by computer vision itself, and it pulls up a related video to troubleshoot it really quick. If the consumer at the other end is capable enough of handling that technical information and that. But there's a lot of this kind of intelligence that can be gathered because of because of the video streaming, and then there could be the augmented reality capability, which on top of it, right? So there's a lot of potential in AI as well.
Yeah, in the AI piece, as always, right? We're here at the Consumer Electronics Show. I'm gonna play my buzzword bingo and count how many times AI is used
Yeah.
in an advertisement for every product. Everybody's embedding AI. Hey, Rama, we were talking in the last break around how some of your customers are using it, but give us some more concrete examples of how customers are actually deploying this and what's kind of been the benefit that they've seen from it.
Absolutely. So let's take the example within the cable industry, right? So we've got uh, two different um, major use cases. The first one is the customers are using this technology to interact with their customers or subscribers. And that was the call center example that I talked about earlier in the earlier segment of this talk. The second use case is for internal support, where you've got these customers have their own internal technicians driving around in vans to fix problems. And specifically in the cable industry, they could be at a head end, they could be on top of a bucket truck anywhere in the outside plant. They could be just outside at the subscriber's home at a tap, or even inside the customer's subscriber's home, looking at a problem. And depending on the complexity of the problem they're solving, they might need, or they pretty often need, subject matter expertise, who's going to be at HQ with the answers to that problem. So these are the two big use cases that customers today are leveraging Blitz for.
Yeah, no, we've been talking a lot about cable, but given your background in the semiconductor space, which is kind of a little bit sounds like the motivation for Blitz, is the problem space generic enough for a broad set of industries?
Absolutely, it is. The potential is huge, because anywhere, think of it this way: anywhere there's a piece of equipment in the real world that needs to be looked at, troubleshooting procedures have to be carried out, installed, replaced, maintained. There's the potential of Blitz being there, and that could be in businesses. It could be inside the consumer's home. The next time you have a problem with a microwave or your router, you could be unknowingly using Blitz when you make that call.
Yeah, and talk about a little bit about because there's been other attempts at doing this in the past, right? We've all, I don't know if is it a convergence of certain technologies that are making this available? Is there a unique twist you've taken on it that other people overlooked? Why Blitz?
There are multiple factors why Blitz. First one is the timing today is perfect because smartphones, both the iOS and Android platforms, are have the processing capabilities for live video, high quality video, augmented reality, and the AI piece as well. So that's one thing. More and more people have already been using live video in their personal lives, and it's only a matter of time that it comes into customer service in the industry, right? And the bandwidth is amazing, especially in the cable industry, right? So you need this is the bandwidth put to great use for exceptional customer support. So that's one aspect, and then the the other side of things is yes, we are unique in a way that we're capturing the resolution journey from the start of the problem to the very end when it's actually resolved, and we're tracking that data. So every journey has different kinds of interactions. There could be phone calls, emails, text messages. We capture all that data in that thread, which we call the resolution journey, and harness the intelligence from that. Because a lot of these things repeat themselves. They repeat themselves in a disconnected fashion today with different text trying different methods without sharing them. So we bring them together and capture that tribal knowledge, and our AI and automation starts making use of that existing knowledge in a very efficient way so that the next time the same problem crops up, the time to resolve it is much, much faster because we know where the answers are.
Well, it opens up an interesting question, right? Because more and more we're seeing, particularly the younger generation, where they want to do self help. They don't want to get on the phone with anybody in a customer call center. They want to be able to resolve it in the frustration level that they feel today when they can't self resolve it. So what you're saying is Blitz in effect subconsciously captures the inherent knowledge base and then exposes that? Is that what it's about?
Yes, it exposes that within an organization to its technicians, and also when you go to the consumer side. Let me give you an example of how, when I was redoing my kitchen, um, it took me 300 hours to rebuild it, and this was at a time. This was just 4 years ago, where I was looking at YouTube videos, but then it was an overload of information. Where I did not know which video to follow because none of those videos exactly solved my problem. 10 years ago, we wouldn't have found any videos for this. So right now we're kind of what Blitz does is within an organization, it brings an intelligence and efficiency in capturing capturing I should say first, and then using that information and to efficiently give it to people who need it just in time.
Yeah, but the important point you point out though is it's also validated answer
Yes.
versus the unvalidated answer, right? The only way you validate a YouTube video is how many thumbs up did it get and how many views does it have, and read the comments. Did someone try and it burn their house down? That's probably not a video you want to go. You want to go and try. Um, and what's been the reaction from consumers? I mean, when the consumer says, "Hey, I'm going to send you this, I'm going to text you this link and click on it," you know, depending on the age and experience of a consumer, you're gonna get a pretty radical experience.
You're absolutely right, Phil. There are consumers who are paranoid about their phone's camera being turned on, and somebody remote comes and takes a look at it. But then, if it's all about how you present that support to them. I mean, you're ready to get text messages from Lyft and Uber with the photograph of a driver or a car. In a similar fashion, if you present it in a way that, hey, we're here to help you, empathize with you, and you don't have to block time off for me to come over and help you 3 days later and take time off from work. I can see it now and solve it. So that approach of empathy really alleviates a lot of those concerns. But the millennials and the younger generation, oh, they just gobble it up. Not a problem.
Yeah, they have no qualms about turning on that camera. Who knows who's on the other side, watching it. So, Rama, let's talk a little bit about Blitz. It's not a company that's been around all that long. What, 2 years? So, give us a little bit of the background of what was going on pre the formation of the company, and then you're 2 years into this. I'm always interested in kind of the lessons learned. Entrepreneurs always kind of think they've got that path perfectly laid out, and then you get Murphy moves in and then mucks it all up.
Yes, Phil, that is absolutely right. Um, so officially, yes, has been around for a little over 2 years, but unofficially a lot longer. With me and Keor, my co-founder and CTO, trying a lot of different ideas around telecommunication with video. It all started with that housing project that really kicked things into action. Where I've got we just bought a home, my wife and I, in San Jose, and homes are so expensive out there. Only half joking when I say I had to donate a kidney to be able to afford it. So, but so we had to do a lot of renovation. It was a 50s home, and the kitchen was very, very old. So a 300-hour project that I took on is what really gave that momentum to Blitz, because I wanted help, and I almost wished this was back in 2014 when I wished that I could say, "Hey Siri, can you find me a plumber or a home improvement expert who could look at the problem that I'm solving and give me quick advice and not charge me $300 to come and fix it for me." I just wanted, like, for $40 I could get advice over the phone while he's looking at the problem, and I just go do it. So that's how it started. And Kira, my co-founder, uh, was building collaboration platforms using video and augmented reality at that time. We put our heads together and tried out different applications of Blitz. And this is all in almost a year before Blitz was officially incorporated. In fact, we took it to the home improvement space first. Realized that we'd have to have a whole bunch of transactions between home improvement professionals and homeowners for us to make some amount of money from that transaction. So we abandoned that, and then we pivoted to what Blitz is today, which is catering video, AR, and AI to field service and customer service teams and businesses. So that's how it started. A big boost that came out for us in the early days was getting into Alchemist Accelerator in the Bay Area. Great accelerator. And so I really encourage entrepreneurs to, even if they are experienced, to go through an accelerator, because it really quickly brings in best practices. I mean, I would not know how to fundraise if I'd not gone to the accelerator. Ravi, Daniel, Ash, all those guys at the Alchemist was phenomenal, and it's always about the people for me. So that was the fundraising experience, go-to-market experience that Kara and I underwent, and then after that, it's been significant milestones, points of inflection all around the journey for the last 2 years.
So, what's been the funding rounds have been so far?
Yes, so we did an angel round followed by a seed round from our lead investor is Ulu Ventures. They're they're a great firm out of Palo Alto in the Silicon Valley, and so but it's at a seed round stage. We're hoping that we can take that all the way to a Series A in the coming months, and we've got enough traction, and we believe we'll get there.
Yeah, one of the questions I get a lot of, because again, 55% of the listeners of the show are in the U.S., 45% are outside the U.S., and even of the U.S. ones, probably 25% are in the Valley, 75% are not in the Valley. So, talk a little bit of your thoughts on the ability to do startups outside of the Valley. I know you don't have any direct experience, but everybody kind of thinks everything has to happen in the Valley.
It's just because of the concentration. I think anywhere what it really takes is passion, and because of how connected we are today, um, uh, we can use the tools today to connect with great mentors. I mean, that's what we were here at the Upramp program and Cable Labs, thanks to your support, Phil, as well. So where we have great mentors like Scott and Lisa and Satish and Caruso. So we've had a great amount of mentorship even outside the Valley. So it's really about the passion, getting in touch with people who've been there and done that. And once you establish that relationship with people, sky's the limit.
Yeah, it's one of the things that I have a little bit of a personal passion on is trying to convince entrepreneurs you can do it anywhere, right? And it does get down to the passion. So what's next for Blitz? You're getting some good traction now. You're getting some. I'm aware of some of your proof of concept work that's underway. But what's next for you guys?
I think this year is going to be the year of cable and possibly even the insurance industry. Um, Cable, thanks to the Federator program, we've got a lot of proof of values going on with limited deployments. That is very, very exciting for us. And when the next phase is after these proof of values, they get converted into full-scale deployments. In which case, we're busy. We're going to be hiring and deploying to some of the large MSOs in this country is a formidable task, but it's exciting and challenging at the same time. So we're going to hire a lot of people, go implement this technology, and improve people's lives. Insurance is another big area where imagine just the same technology can be used for claims management, looking at damages, minimizing fraud in the insurance vertical. So that's another area where there's some traction happening. And so this year is predominantly going to be cable, followed by insurance. And there are other industries we're looking at, but thanks to the support of the cable labs, we've got our work cut out this year for us.
Yeah, just be careful what you wish for, right? You get one big guy, and you can become pretty swamped right out of the gate. So, if people want to keep track of what you're up to and what Blitz is up to, what's the best places for them to keep up with what your progress?
So Blitz, the URL for Blitz is blitz.co. So, and there'll be blogs, there'll be updates, and of course, you can also follow us on LinkedIn and Twitter as well. These are the website will pretty much get you most of the information that you guys need.
Perfect. So it's blitz.co.
It's blitz.co. So two Z's.
Two Z's. I wanted to make sure it was a test. So you can hop on over. We'll have all those links over in the show notes over at Killer Innovations, so that you can check them out. Right? I think this is a proof point of innovation patience, because there's been a lot of attempts to try to do this in the past, but bandwidth wasn't there. The smartphones weren't quite there yet. A lot of people don't realize that, when Steve was doing the iPhone, he had it basically done, but then had to wait for 5 years to get another round of silicon and another round of, wireless broadband and all the right elements. And I think you are right. I think the timing for this, particularly with familiarity of people using video for family communications, it just becomes, just the natural extension. In my case, I just bought, 6 Facebook portal devices for all my grandkids and kids, so I can spoil my grandkids from remote, even when I'm traveling on the road. So, hey, Ram, thanks a lot for taking the time out today, joining us here on the show. Really appreciate it. And we'll stay in touch, obviously, and hopefully maybe have you back for an update at some point as Blitz continues on in its progress. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much for your time and this opportunity, Phil.
With that, we're going to wrap up today's show. Check out the show notes over at killerinnovations.com. Love to hear from you. Drop me a note, phil@killerinnovations.com, or hop over to the innovators.community. That's where I hang out. Love to chat with you. Talk to you next week. Bye-bye.
Podcasting nonstop since 2005, this has been the Killer Innovation Show on the Innovators Network.